Welcome back to Point Blank. Okay, we also hit the streets to find out what Singaporeans think about divorce and whether it should be seen as a final solution to end a troubled marriage.
Yep.
Take a look, guys.
What do you think is the main reason why people get divorced?
Maybe it's a financial problem, number one. Maybe they married too young. Never think beforehand.
Do you think the recession will make things worse for couples?
Both parties cannot get along because of financial difficulties. They go for gambling, all this. The woman cannot take it.
What do you think is the most important part of the marriage?
Both must get along well. They must think before they get married. Prepare, First, financially, must be sound. They must agree for the both parties to work out.
A lot of families are breaking up now. Yeah, that's it's not acceptable.
It's not acceptable. Okay, what are your thoughts? Your friends?
I feel that the children will feel very sad because their parents break up. The father and mother should have more talks with each other to consider their children's feelings.
Parents should really consider about their children's interests first before divorcing.
Yeah, so do you think it's a problem with society nowadays because everybody is so busy and there are careers going on? Is that why divorce rates have gone up?
They don't have time for each other, so their misunderstanding will be much greater. They just neglect each other, so it's their feeling after all will be fate. That's why they will lead to divorce. I think a lot of people think that their career is more important than family.
What's more important, a career or a successful marriage?
It's better to have both.
Do you think divorce in general, is it a good or a bad thing?
Sometimes a marriage, if it comes to worse, you just have to bear with it.
Now that the recession is happening as well, do you think there will be more couples that will have troubles in their marriage?
I think so, yeah.
Why is that?
Mainly because of the day-to-day problems that they encounter in the daily issues of life due to the recession and all that.
1 in 3 couples nowadays have divorced. So what do you think about it?
My wife would not.
No matter what happens, you will not think of divorcing.
Definitely, first of all, you must work out the marriage first. And of course, divorce is a last resort if there is a need. But it will not go that far if there's a mediation or if two persons come and talk.
Do you think it's because maybe young people are getting married younger, so maybe they don't understand each other?
That could be part of the reason because younger people tends to be not financially stable, and of course the emotion, the sentimental values are also not settled yet. And young people, they like to so-called chiong. They like to chiong, they like to... Because nowadays the young people is very much different from the old times. What I feel about young people, they are more of self-centered, more self-centered, and they look after only for themselves. Of course, you cannot blame them because of the progressive in society. So what I feel about youngsters nowadays, they are more self-centered.
When people youngsters, they want to divorce nowadays, what's your advice for them?
Think of the family. Think of if you have a kid, also think of the kid first before you actually decide on the last resort.
Okay, what are the factors you think?
One of them, my friend was saying that it's because of he has no freedom, and he's still looking out for new excitement.
I don't think it's a bad thing to go through the divorce because the generation nowadays, they have different perspective in life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because if you look at the older generation, people think to stick together no matter what happen. But now today, the new generation people, if they find that they cannot get along with each another, they'll rather move on life and find somebody else better. I will not say it is right or wrong. It is just up to the individual to see about their own culture, their own belief, and their own value in life. In a marriage, for the relationship to work, it takes two parties to clap. I mean, if I'm working it alone, then it will be very hard. So you just need the other party to clap your hand together with you.
what's your advice for like young couples that are sort of like, you know, they want to get married and all that? What would you think?
Never rush into marriage. Never rush into marriage, and if the time is right, if your partner is right, then you just need to go for it.
Is it morally right or wrong?
Personally, most of the times no, unless if the wife, if either party is in an abusive relationship, then yes, I think it's right to get out of it. But other than that, I feel that couples should try to work on their differences together.
Okay, so like Singaporean like divorce rates is like sort of like increasing. Why do you think this is so?
Work, they have less time to spend with each other as a family.
离婚要看嘛，有人不合就离婚了，一点点就不要离婚了，太早结婚不可以啦，晚一点结婚比较好。
Why do you think couples break up?
Third party? They don't have a good foundation maybe.
Do you think divorce is a good or a bad thing?
Depends on their situation.
First, some of them when they end up it will be like a friendship, they're still friends.
For yourself, if you were to get married, if there's problems, right, will you ever consider divorce at all?
Try to solve the problem first.
There's a lot of young couples divorcing. Do you think it's because we're like self-centered, or like we kind of put a priority on career over marriage?
Maybe they have too much high hopes. And maybe after you get married, there's no more distance between each other, so you want more. That's why you quarrel more. You expect more, you know.
Maybe they are too young, they are not too explore yet. So once they come out for the works in this kind of environment, then they will learn more things, then they meet more people. This is why things change as well.
Very interesting, all the voices from the streets. Okay, I think one thing I would like to correct myself is actually, I said previously that, people are getting married younger, but it's actually not true. People are not getting married younger, but it's just that the mentality that they have when they get married could be a bit younger. Because I think maybe the older generation could have a more of an inkling of their responsibilities when they get into a marriage. But then, nowadays people think it's just... as I'm happy, I'll just get married and
take
after
it
that
more
live
for granted.
live to regret maybe.
Do you guys agree?
I think people get married for different reasons.
Yeah.
So you can't hold someone for wanting to get married, and you can't hold against them for not wanting to get married. Because a lot of people out there who feel that getting married is getting into a trap, and they see their own parents getting divorced. And they find that if they get into a marriage, their own relationship may end up in a divorce. And they don't want to go through that kind of trauma or that kind of pain. So there are sectors of people who do not want to get married because they feel that the institution of marriage is no longer relevant to today's age.
Okay.
Some people, however...
But that's a very important point. Do you think it's still relevant?
I think it is.
The institution of marriage, the sanctity of marriage.
Of course.
Okay, you? What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think, when you get married, you make your marriage vows, and I think as time goes by, we should try to remember that, yes, we did make those vows to stick through thick and thin. But unfortunately, the reality of life is that you're so overcome with the pace of life, with what you're doing. Today, you may not remember the happiness, the hopes you had when you first joined in marriage. And I think that's the sad part. But if we could, when things are going bad for us, I think of the happy times. And if there's hope, I think, you can work on your marriage.
What about you?
Actually, while you were talking about it, my mind wanders away. I was thinking about in the olden days, our parents' generation. Did they say the vow? No.
I am not sure.
I don't think so.
Do they say vows?
I don't think so.
Okay.
All right. But what hold them together? Are they really happy in a marriage?
Yeah.
Actually, it's not quite true. It's just like just now Khiang Whee was saying about the tolerance level.
Yeah.
And then the lack of resources. And then they just persevere through. And for some of them, they were able to work through, and that, or with the help of the children as they grow older. Yeah, but then, likewise, as I'm looking at why nowadays younger people, we also conduct premarital counseling sessions where we teach people, to understand themselves better and understand their own family of origin, how they interact. How's their communication pattern, how their interaction style, and what are their own emotional needs, and get them to express all this. And they work through issues like you said, their parents may have not had a good marriage, so they realize that, hey, I don't want to go that trap, go that way, but then they want to look at it differently. So I think these are good options, to look at, rather than saying that, marriage is not, we just call it quit. It's a tough journey. In anything, it requires a lot of commitment, responsibility. Above all, it requires a lot of respect, the building of oneself. And I think a marriage, when you can relate with one another, is the other party building you up, and you're building up the other party through these interactions. If we can look at that, then it would definitely with help, with support, of building, their life journey together. Because I don't believe and I don't think there's no such thing as there's no conflict in marriage. There's bound to be.
It's just how much you can take.
And how much you work that through, how much you face the conflict together. You get what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay, speaking of tolerance, can I tap on the two lawyers over here? Speaking of tolerance, okay, do you see for the older clients that want, let's say, a divorce, would they be having more serious issues as opposed to the younger clients? Maybe the younger clients are oh yeah, because he snores very loudly, I cannot take it, I'm going to cut him out from my life. And the older people are more on very,
I think there's no real difference.
No real differences
between the older and the younger person when the couple, when they want, when they are faced with a situation where they want to end their marriage.
Yeah.
So there's the issues that confront either older couple or younger couple are also equally serious.
Okay.
So for the older couple, it could well be because adultery, for example, or it could be because they are physically abused, or the husband gambles all the time, drinks, doesn't take his responsibilities as a father, as a husband seriously. For the younger generation, they may not face that kind of, through the years of marriage, the kind of trauma, but they will have their own issues. For instance, if the husband works or the wife works too many hours, spends too much time with their friends, gambling, going to the karaoke, going to the pubs and so on, or engaging in sports.
Yeah.
Obsessively to the exclusion of the spouse.
Yeah.
So again, these are different considerations, but it's nonetheless, I think there are serious issues with each party. So one cannot say what is more serious or what is less.
Right. Xiaowen?
I think there are some differences. Obviously, the older clients, they've been through maybe 10, 20 years of marriage together, and perhaps their personal tolerance level is higher. Because I do tend to think that perhaps the older generation is not so self-centered. They do think of, by my actions, am I going to hurt my children? How is it going to affect, people around me? But the younger generation, perhaps because they are more financially empowered, perhaps because they have their own independent career and they are an independent, separate person, not just part of an entity in a marriage.
Yep.
Maybe the younger generation, they feel more able to just say, I can't take this anymore, that's it, see you.
And by the CEO is actually quite costly, right? Nowadays, I think in times of economic recession, you can say that, to sort of save on money, we shouldn't get divorced because, it can run up to quite a high amount.
Better to just try and stick it out.
Yeah, stick it out and stuff like that,
But what price do you pay for freedom?
Yeah.
As a young person as well, and seeing your parents go through a divorce, will you ever consider, will you think really hard before you even go into a marriage, or, will you have a priority on career over marriage as well? Or
I still feel that career are more important than getting married first. Because this sort of thing, it takes a long term to say about marriage.
How long do you think you should date somebody before you think about marriage?
About 6 to 8 years.
That's pretty long. I do have a lot of friends that are getting married after a few months.
A few months.
Oh, sorry. After a few years. Yeah, and then you'll be like, I met this guy, he's quite cool, and I'm going to get married, and baby, or something. Yeah.
But I have this theory, that the longer you date, 6-7 years, the chances of getting a divorce seems higher. So to me, the optimum period is really about 2 to 3 years before and then you get married. Because if you wait too long, chances of getting a divorce may be higher because you then tend to take, to have certain expectations that may not develop in a marriage. So, to wait too long before getting into marriage may not be an entirely good thing.
Okay, that's something very interesting because I've never heard of this before. I was always thinking.
Personal theory.
Yeah. No, but it's true. Sometimes I hear a lot of friends actually that have dated somebody for a long time, maybe 6 to 8 years, like you were saying, and then suddenly break up and then get together with this new person and date for like a year and then get married. So, that could be one of the reasons, like, definitely what you don't like, and then maybe you move on to what you like. Yeah, I don't know. What about you?
Personally, I think that the relationship when you're dating and when you're actually married, it's very different. When you're married, you live with the other party day to day, begin to quarrels like, is the toilet seat covered up or down? It's the challenges of living in a confined space day to day. I think issues would arise, issues that you may not be able to see when you're just purely dating. Dating is happy hour. You don't see your problems.
Is it still happy hour after 6 to 8 years though? Maybe it's like
I hope so.
The zenith of happy hour. We're going to finish, Eddie.
I think definitely in a marriage, it's more than just the initial burst of love. If you have that at the beginning, good for you. But over the long term, even short term, I think what really goes into the marriage would be commitment, responsibility. That it's something more than yourself. There's another party involved. Yeah, so that intense burst of passion can only last you very short while.
Until age takes over and...
I think I like to advise couple to look at emotional bonding. I think it doesn't, in the initial stage, when they are courting, dating, that's where they start to build it. But once they, say, I do and all that, I will and all that. So what happened? And I like to encourage couples. I think it's an ongoing thing. It's just the start of their journey. I always tell those couples who come for premarital, I said, it's just your starting. You have to constantly invest time into it to build, to build your emotional bonding and understand each other, because the real understanding comes when you get married.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Stay emotionally bonded to us. We'll be back for a short while. In a short while.